Don't blink. Laura has finally arrived. Avi raised the statue for the wrong reasons, but his moment of joy was about to crash. Because Old White sauntered in with his crew, telling one of his lackeys to grab the statue. Avi was shot right in the heart, dramatically falling into a puddle like a swimming pro. He slowly closed his eyes, looking like a reluctant merman, sinking into the endless darkness. After what felt like an eternity, Owe woke up to see Old White sitting before him. Owe curiously asked, "Where are we?" Old White replied with annoyance, "Welcome to the insane asylum." Owe remembered clearly that the man before him was the one who killed him, though the current situation was a bit mind-boggling. Instinctively fleeing, he was grabbed by 2 incoming zombies. Old White ordered his lackey to inject Owe, and he heroically fought back. Finally free, he escaped to the hallway and was shocked to see a coffin in a room. Hearing cries for help from the coffin, Owe quickly opened it, and who jumped out but Avi. The 2 buddies embraced tightly. After excitement, they puzzled what happened. After brainstorming, they concluded Old White shot. Owe deemed it unsafe to stay, so they prepared to sneak away, but a loud noise made it spooky at the door. Seeing the good looks wild, the nearby goddess, who promptly began her introduction with great flair, "We're headed to Juvat, which is the subordinate to Asia," she began, leaving Owe utterly baffled. "This is Taweret, goddess of women and children, and she's guiding us on our adventure," she continued. Owe didn't believe these wild claims, he just wanted to scoot out. But when he opened the door, he was left frozen. It turned out to be a massive ship sailing through the desert. "You're kidding, right?" Owe's mind was filled with question marks. The goddess explained, "This is the ghost ship, designated to ferry the deceased to the Underworld. But before you arrive, you must undergo a trial. What a genuine buzzkill this is." She mysteriously reached into their chests and pulled out 2 jade hearts, sending them into a frenzy. She planned to weigh them on the scales of justice to see if they deserved soul salvation. They were immediately terrified and huddled together, debating whether to pull off a handsome man trick to get her to send them. Just then, Taweret noticed that their hearts seemed incomplete, and the scales of justice teetered precariously. She kindly reminded them, "The ship holds all your memories from life. Find those secrets before reaching the Underworld for the scales to balance. Otherwise, your souls will perish." They returned to the asylum, finding each room held a memory. Suddenly, they heard the boys' cries for help next door. Owe dashed in to find it was Owe's tragic childhood memory. Owe took his brother into a cave but faced a flash flood. He survived while his brother perished. From that day on, Mom blamed everything on Owe, regularly throwing fists at him, literally. Over time, Owe developed a second personality, fantasizing about living in a happy family. He was Owe. Years later, his mother couldn't bear the psychological torment and took her own life. Owe was in immense pain, not daring to attend his mother's funeral. Soon after, he left his hometown to become a mercenary, but during a mission, he ran into an ambush and was seriously wounded, seeking refuge in a temple. Who knew the moon god Khonsu had his eyes on him, kicking off his glorious life on Earth? Owe was stunned by these memories until Taweret called, and they hurriedly returned to the ship. Taweret warned them that the Underworld was near, but their hearts still weren't balanced, and the tension was rising. The 2 sides clashed immediately. Though Owe was nimble, he was like a lone wolf against the horde. Who could handle? Owe bravely charged in to save Owe, only to be pulled down by the undead, leaving the 2 buddies screaming. Owe yelled frantically, "Stop the boat." But miraculously, the scales bounced, tipping him up to the heavens. At the same time, Old White resurrected the goddess Ammit, and disaster loomed ominously. The man smashed a crystal cup, scattering the shards at his feet, and shockingly walked right and barefoot, causing the crowd to wail. Old White stormed into the Egyptian temple, stepping on thorns and furiously throwing down an enchanted statue, unveiling a mind-blowing conspiracy. A monstrous creature appeared before them, with its hand opened. No wonder everyone was in a frenzy. He was none other than Ammit, the soul eater from ancient Egyptian lore, known as the Devourer of Souls. Old White and his henchmen dropped to their knees, pledging loyalty to the soul eater, followed by a flurry of flash. At that moment, Laura snuck in and located the statue sealing the moon god Khonsu, planning to revive him. Using the same method, she freed Khonsu. To stop the havoc, he decided to act, but the opponent was shockingly powerful. Listen. Soon Old White reached the pyramid's peak, uttering incantations. His red glowing staff exploded the surroundings. Followers of Ammit were summoned, initiating a judgment of the innocent bystanders. Feasting on souls, Ammit grew more powerful. Cairo was just the start, Earth's conquest was the goal. At that moment, Owe arrived in heaven. Taweret urged him to stay, but he resolutely chose the Underworld. Without a second thought, he dived back into the Underworld, quickly locating the long-lost Tommy.